Good morning. My name is Dennis, product manager for Ocno at Exertis Pro AV, and I'm glad about the lively interest. Today, I would like to welcome Olof Ermes from Ocno in Sweden. Today, he will give you an overview of the many applications and feature sets of Ocno. Questions can be asked at any time via the chat question window in the bottom right. And now I will hand over to Olof.
Hello. Thank you, Dennis. Yes, my name is Olof Ermes. I'm CEO at Ocno. We're a Swedish company, a bit new to the Pro AV space, but we have been working with Dennis and Exertis for a year almost now, and super happy to be here. So everyone, welcome to our presentation here. We have 1 hour. I was planning to present around 40 minutes. And then we have a longer time afterwards for discussions. Again, if you have any immediate questions, you have put them in the chat, and then we also will follow up on them after the 40 minutes. So that's the plan. Okay, then. So we talk about conference rooms here and the customer requirements for those conference rooms. And on a very high level, usually they tend to end up in 2 buckets. One which is it should always work, and one which is all the nice to haves. And the always works is of course easy to say, but not always so easy to implement. So it's, for instance, just 1 cable. It should work on all laptops because yes, we have a special laptops, but then we have guests and MacBooks and all that stuff. We maybe use Teams a lot, but then we also have calls on Zoom and Skype and Google and so on. And we shouldn't want to educate our employees or guests how to use the video conferencing system. So it should be super simple to connect and get started. That is usually in the must-have bucket, and then there are a lot of nice-to-haves as well. So for instance, I don't want to have to sit in a particular place around the table to run my video conference or do the presentation. And charging is something that you can't have too little of in a conference room for longer meetings and so on. Of course, try to remove as much cables as possible from tabletop. And if there is any issue, if a cable is broken or something like that, try to understand that it is broken and fix it as fast as possible. So these are all, custom requirements that, you hear, of course, from your customers, and that we at Ocno try to implement and support you with in as good way as possible. And so to understand how Ocno fits into this ecosystem that we are in, we have this picture. So we are basically between the companies on the left side here, the laptop vendors primarily, HP, Dell, Apple, etc., Lenovo. And then on the right side, you have all the brands for the video conferencing equipment. All those logos already, I assume, and work with them. So we are all about ensuring that this always works question is implemented in this multi-vendor ecosystem that we are in. So that is the core of Ocno here. And we also, to make that even better and add more value on top of that, we also have a cloud service called Ochno Operated, which then communicates and connects to our hardware and to provide it with different features. One of those, and we also now, at the same way that we work on the hardware side, we also work on the cloud side to integrate different cloud services with on the left side and on the right side. So we try to be a aggregator also on the cloud services side. So that's where you find Ocno in the meeting room. And so the main selling point that Ocno has is to create a consistent user experience in all the meeting rooms, all the places where you as the end users are sitting and having meetings, to create a consistent user experience across all those rooms and places. And this is of course one of the key requirements to solve the plug and play as easy as possible, that the end user don't have to learn different things, different ways to connect, different ways to start a meeting, different ways to change something or something like that. So it should always be the same everywhere in the office. And then there are typically two dimensions in the office that we're looking at. So one is the room size, from the smallest 1-person room, the medium sizes, 6, 8, 10 room, and then the larger boardroom size kind of rooms. And which then of course requires different equipment in the room to deal with video and audio and so on. But now we talk about the user experience in those rooms, that the user will connect to them. Then on the bottom line here, we have the platform. So in an office, you often have bring on device rooms. You come with a laptop and you connect the laptop, you run the meeting on your laptop, connecting to the equipment in the room, bring your own meeting type of rooms. Then of course, there are also the need for fixed room systems, Microsoft Teams rooms being maybe the mostly used in Europe, but we also have Zoom rooms and Google Meet, WebEx rooms. And in many of those platforms, you have two versions. You have the Windows-based, PC Windows-based systems, and you have the Android-based systems, right? So those can be mixed, of course. So again, you basically have a lot of permutations in your office here with the different sizes, the bring on device rooms, the PC-based, the Windows-based MTR rooms, maybe the Android-based Teams or Zoom rooms. So again, it's all about creating a consistent user experience, but also on the management side, important, but the end user is what is in focus here. So now we have a couple of slides then that shows you how our product, Ochno Power Conference, fits into these different deployments. So, and at the end of the day, it boils down to plug in a cable and it should always work, right? Regardless of what those rooms or systems you actually had installed. So if you talk about the smallest room, and now at the room with only one USB-C cable for connecting to the equipment, and no team rooms system or something like that. And this is normally where you would look at a USB-C docking station, maybe from HP, Dell, or StarTech or Targus or something like that. And for that segment, we have a locked down version of the Ochno Power Conference 3 product, which is called OPC 3 Single. So it has only one port is active. The other 3 are only for charging. And but what we add on top of this function, if you compare to regular docking station, is that it's connected to the cloud service, Ochno Operated. It always have the latest firmware for the USB-C protocol, which means that for when that comes out new laptops, and maybe you have experienced issues with new models coming out that don't work on your existing docking stations or USB-C equipment. And this is part of the challenge with USB-C, but also there is a solution for that, which is that it's possible for us to download updates into the product over the air from internet. So this is a key feature to ensure that the installation that you have is always also compatible with future laptop models and future BIOS updates that they might have. And we are constantly testing. We have hundreds of different laptops here at Ochno that we are testing with. So we have very good insight in this. We have the remote management, of course, and what we are adding now as well, we'll show a bit later, is the support for managing and discovering the devices, the TV, the USB devices as well in the rooms. You will basically have an inventory of what is installed and the status of those, which is of course a feature that you don't have in a normal docking station. Monitoring, alarms, etc. for what's going on to ensure that if there is an error, broken cable or something like that, you should be able to find that. 100-watt charging, of course, and also we have different cabling options and lengths and so on that we are supporting that you can put in here. So this is the sort of entry-level product version, OPC 3 Single. It comes with the Ochno Operated service bundled for 3 years. Then in the medium room, so what we add here, then you have all the 4 ports active on the OPC 3. And so it's a USB-C switch in that sense. You can then bring out those outlets or cables in different ways to distribute them throughout the table, so it's easy access to the user. So on the right here, you see different cabling options. On the top left, you have a regular sort of Bachmann or any other existing solution that you can just pull out cables. We have pull out cables up to 3 meter long, but are also longer available on the market, even though they're a bit more expensive. To the right, you see a product from our partner company called Evoko. So they have a product called Delo, which provides you with 4 extracted USB-C pull-out cables, and you can select on that green LED there, which is the laptop or cable that is currently sharing and running the video conferencing. Everyone else provides you with charging. So it's a very nice product to integrate in your table. On the bottom there, you have our aluminium outlet called Ochno socket, the LED socket. They have integrated LED button. So you click on that button to activate if you want to present on that connection. And down right, you see a custom integration, just a plain hole and the cable, and using auto switch to select the active port. So again, it's all about ensuring that wherever you sit on the table, you have within 1 arm's length access to charging and the capability to present, which is important to make a really user-friendly meeting room. So these were, and then we have for the really large rooms, you can then connect these units together. So up to 5 units gives you 16 USB-C connections. And for this picture here, you see this table. So you have 18 seats there. Everyone around that table can just open that hatch and pull out the USB-C cable, charge and present wherever they sit around the table. So without adding any more complicated control systems or these things, just connect them into each other. You get full charging and video conference capability throughout the table. So that is for the larger rooms then. Provide, again, the goal is to ensure that the end user have the same user experience in any of these sizes of rooms. So these were the baseline, typically for your BUD bring on device rooms, bring on meeting rooms. If you then look at the rooms where you have a room system installed, now this picture shows you the Windows-based version. And so the situation here is that you buy the system, Lenovo, Poly, Logi, etc. And those systems by default only supports the MTR meeting, of course, or the Zoom room meeting, and then you have an HDMI cable if you want to do content ingest from your laptop into the meeting, and that's it. So if you want to run a meeting on your laptop, bring your own meeting scenario, you want to run Google or something else on your laptop, you need a way to switch the equipment, the video and the equipment in the room to your laptop instead. So this is what we're doing here. And what we have, which no one else has in this niche market, is that we are aware if a meeting is running on the MTR system or Zoom room system, which means that the switching between should I, as a user, present from my laptop or should I just share content is something that the user don't have to know or decide themselves. It handles automatically. So from an end user point of view, it means that if you come into the room, you haven't joined any meeting on the touch screen, you just connect your laptop on your USB-C cable, you will automatically be in bring on your meeting mode. So you come into the room, you connect the cable, you start your Google Meet on your laptop, you're up and running, camera, speakers, TV, everything. Whereas if you come into the room, you click join on the touch screen, and then you connect your USB-C cable, then you will just present content from your laptop into the MTR meeting, which is of course intuitive for the user. If you put in a USB-C cable, you want to share content, and of course you still get charging in that scenario. So again, the user don't have to care to do any actual switching or select change of mode or something like that. So if you compare this to other solutions on the market, you have Logitech Switch, you have Poly BUD kit, J-Link BUD kit, Taurus, etc., Inogeny. They are all either you trigger the switch to bring on device mode when you insert the USB-A cable, which is not so nice because you want to have USB-C, the new one. Or you have the risk that someone is running a meeting on the MTR system, and then someone pulls in the cable, and then they switch out all the equipment from the meeting, and the meeting, crashes because the camera and speaker was removed from the team system. That is typically what you have with Logitech switch or something like that. So it's very important that the system have the awareness of what is going on the MTR system to make this whole user experience seamless. And we have that at Ochno. Ochno Operated connect to the customer's Microsoft 365 or Zoom account, and we pull the status information from there in real time. And also for Android-based systems, so if you look at Poly products, you have an HDMI cable and a USB-A cable, so you have a built-in device mode capability, but to use it, you need to have an HDMI cable to present and a USB-A cable that triggers the device mode in the device. So with our solution, you don't need that. You just provide a USB-C cable to the user, and the switching between MTR and device mode is done automatically, as described before. So the user don't need to think about different cables. They don't need to know that they should press a certain device mode button on the touch screen or something like that. So just plug in, and it becomes MTR content ingest or device mode intuitively, like that. And it works on Zoom rooms and Microsoft rooms, this feature. Then there can of course be other things in the room that you would like to switch between. And so one example is a Barco system, and here we can add a Barco base station on one of the USB-C ports. And so you have generation 1 and generation 2 of Barco. Generation 2 has USB-C natively connectivity. So with that, you just pull a USB-C cable from the OPC 3 on one port, connect it to the Barco base station, and then you're up and running. And then coupled with auto switching, you can have a room. When you come into the room, the Barco system is by default active, so you can connect their button and activate the meeting. Or the user can connect with the USB-C cable, and then everything will be routed automatically to that, and they run the meeting off the laptop instead, getting charging and higher video resolution and lower latency than you would have on the Barco system. So it's a good way to take the best of both worlds here, and in different room scenarios, this can be a very good combination. We also have doing now an integration with Barco that allows you that we can communicate with the base station here as well, to solve things like if someone is presenting on the Barco system and then someone inserts the USB-C cable because they just want to charge or something, we don't switch. So we know there is a meeting on the Barco system, and that has to end first before you have the capability to switch over to the USB-C cable. And we can mention here that the functionality we talked about before about the dynamic switching between MTR mode and ring on device mode also applies automatically on the Barco system. So if you have a CX20, CX30 connector like this, that one will also switch between BOD mode and MTR content ingest mode automatically based on the system, the status of the MTR meeting. So even if you don't need the actual wired connectivity, but you want the Barco system with dynamic switching, you will get that by combining these two products. And so CX20, CX30 will give you that together with OPC 3. On CX50, there are promised features to have a similar solution. Still, that one, which are coming now, doesn't have the dynamic switching, so you still, as a user, need to decide, and there is still the risk for you as a user to, by mistake, pull out the video. It only supports Android right now based systems on the first release from Barco CX50. So if you want PC based MTR systems, you get that with OPC 3 and Barco CX20. Also, the total cost with the CX20 plus OPC 3 is actually lower than the CX50, so you still get more features for a better price by combining those two versions. So that was hardware. if you look at the service side then, so Ochno Operated, when you install the system at the customer site, you can then connect it to your account. There you can work with different presentation methods. You can create this kind of floor plans, or you can just have them in different lists and sorted. In this tool then, you can access all the settings of the unit. You can do all the firmware management, license management, and the other new features that we are presenting here as well. So once connected, there is no need for being physically sort of connected to the device. So you only need to configure the Wi-Fi settings, authenticate to your account, and then you can work from there online. What we are launching now is one feature then called room topology discovery. So it means that we are basically querying everything that is connected in real time, querying what is connected to all the different ports on the system, and then presenting that in this user interface. So you have, of course, the USB-C ports, which shows what is connected there, a laptop connected being charged, or mobile, or nothing connected. So it gives you good insight to what's currently live in the room. It also shows you which port is currently showing video, if it is in MTR mode or BOD mode, and these kind of things. We also check what is connected on the HDMI output, so what TV is connected, and if it's online and so on. What kind of devices are connected then, and we have our own devices, which are the different sort of LED switches and so on. But more importantly, we can also look at the USB devices connected, and it basically shows you a USB tree, because you have the different hubs in your systems, and then different devices are connected to those usually. And you can then see the device type, you get a picture, you see a serial number as well, and then you see all the hubs in between. And this is also important to understand if there is a problem, because it could be that your extender cable has stopped working or something like that, and then you will see where in the USB tree the connectivity stops. So a very good way to remotely get the first understanding, if the customer reports a problem, the video doesn't work or something like that, the video camera doesn't work, then you can see here, I can, that the extender cable is maybe broken, or that the extender works but the camera is not active. So very good first sort of analysis that you can make remotely, and then decide if you need to go there locally and take a look at things. We are adding firmware management and settings management as well on selected connected devices. And first out is Jabra now during or after summer, and then we're adding more and more brands as we go along throughout the year. So it will basically mean that you can click on the device, you see current firmware version, you can change some of the settings on the device, you can update the firmware. And of course, this is especially important for devices which have no built-in connectivity. So today you have to go out in those rooms manually, connect your laptop, run the software update tool on your laptop, push in your firmware, make a change the setting, which of course is very time consuming if you have 200-300 rooms at your customer site. So that will save a lot of time. And even settings like autofocus or this kind of auto zoom, these kind of features that maybe customer says that they want to change something, and then automatically can push out that change on all the devices. So this is something that will save you a lot of work. And this is available it will be launched end of June. So for those of you that already is running Ocno OPC 3, there is a firmware update that you need to do, and then you can access this feature. It's included in the Ochno Operated license. Then another feature that we are looking at is what we call the auto booking or auto check-in. So it means that you have a booking system running in your room, and normally the flow is that the end user, of course, they make the reservation in Outlook. So they make the reservation in the room, they walk out there, maybe check in on the touchscreen when they come to the door, and then they go into the room and it becomes red. Now, if you have just drop-in rooms that you don't need to book, or the user forgets to book it, or they just I need to take this phone call, or I don't need to run this video conference. So I just run into my nearest room and forget to, reserve it, then of course anyone else can reserve it. So when you insert with this feature, when you insert USB-C cable in your laptop, the room will automatically be reserved in the calendar. So if you're running Google calendars or Microsoft, it will be automatically added to those. And as long as you're connected with your cable, it will extend the reservation until you pull out the cable, and then usually it waits for 10 minutes before it ends the reservation. So if you have those touchscreens on the wall there, it will automatically turn red when you insert the USB-C cable. So it's like an on-air kind of a red lamp on your door. And then the check-in feature is a bit different there, because check-in is implemented by the room booking system, not Microsoft or Google. But we are doing integrations there with a couple of vendors. So you will have that option as well. Again, Microsoft 365 and Google calendars it works with. So another thing here, I mentioned before about the company Evoko and the product Delo. So we are collaborating around this product. It's a Evoko product. Ochno is providing the base unit for it and the solution for it. So it is from a cable management point of view, it's an ideal solution that solves everything in regards to cabling, how it's managed, how it pulls down. There is a very nice LED ring there that you use just with a touch, select which is the active port, provides you with charging and conference capability on all USB-C cables there. So everything that I mentioned about the features on the topologies with MTR, BUD, with Ochno Operated also applies on the Evoko Delo product. You can use your same Ochno Operated account to connect both the Delo units and OPC3, and the licenses can be applied on either of those two products. And I can just mention that, so the Ochno Operated license is usually bought in 36-month prepaid. There are other options available as well, but that's the normal way. It's a floating license, so once you have the license connected to your account, you can move it between different units. It is bundled with the OPC3 single I mentioned before. On OPC3, it is optional, the full feature version. But for those features that we talked about here, the dynamic MTR switching, topology management, etc., everything that has to do with cloud connectivity, you need Ochno Operated license for that one. So if we put all this together now, so we present these different use cases and features, it's more advanced features. So this is how it can look like in an all-you-can-eat room, if we call it like that. So you can do this daisy change, you connect many of these units together, you can combine OPC3 with Evoko Delo, you can have the Barco system in place, you can have the MTR system in place, and you can have the auto booking in place. So in this kind of room, you have 8 USB-C connections, thus charging, MTR content ingest, BUD mode, switching between wired connectivity and wireless connectivity is done automatically. Switching between MTR mode and BUD mode is done automatically, and the room is automatically reserved as soon as anyone connect on any of these USB-C cables. And all this you can do without any external control system, right? So no need for any additional touchscreens where the user needs to click or enable or disable something. No additional cost or programming needed. This is all plug and play. The only thing you need to do is that you need to associate your which Teams room this unit is installed in, and then you're up and running. So very easy to install as well. And a bit of a recap then. So we talked about the different conference room sizes, the different technologies that you have in the different rooms. And at the end of the day, it is about, it should always work. and one cable, any laptop, any video conference system. No instructions needed for the user. Convenience, easy to find a USB-C cable, charging for everyone, as little cable as possible. And then if there is an issue, you should know it as soon as possible and be able to solve it and understand what action you need to take to fix it. And so there are more information available on ochno.com. If you go in under support, there we have reference designs and different technical information about these different topologies and so on, and we are continuously adding more and more information here. Then I would just like to briefly talk a bit about the next version. So this is to be released in early Q1 next year. So it's a bit in the future here, but for you that are looking at longer term projects, it can be good to know what is coming. And it basically boils down to different, feedback, customer feedback that we have heard from our customers. And we have been able to integrate many of those into the next generation of the product. So this picture represents the solution here. So we add 2 new products here. What is called we have the OPC4, of course, the next version. Then we have the OPC4 node, which is an extender solution, and then a special cable link solution between those, the OPC4 10 or 20 meter. So this means that you have an optical hybrid extender included or as an accessory to the product, and it allows you to do different things. So you can have dual screens connected on the wall side. You connect all other equipment as well in the OPC4 node. And then we have been looking at the different technologies for how to do the actual extension. And as you know, there are 2 methods. There is the Ethernet-based technologies, HT-based T, etc., and then there are the optical. And to be able to follow up the bandwidth requirement of both USB and video, it has to be optical to be able to keep on track with those. But we have made a very strong and robust and very small optical connector. So it allows you to pull it through ducts as small as 20 millimeter with easy way to do the pull strings and these kind of things. So it's really optimized for Pro AV installations and it can scale. So this one runs up to 50 gigabit to be able to deal with dual 4K 60 Hertz TVs and up to 10 gigabit USB devices. And it also supports a different kind of MTR placements and these things. And what is important to be able to support all these different topologies and also the extended ones, you can then combine the main unit and the node unit in different ways to handle extensions, both at the table side and at the wall side. So you have USB-C inputs and you have USB-C outputs, and you can just connect those together to form these kind of larger installations. Still while having support for the Barco use case, the MTR use cases, and everything else that we talked about. So that is a bit of it going back there, and I will just flip up to where we started now in this picture. So again, it's about supporting a consistent user experience from an end user point of view, regardless of what you install in the rooms. It is about providing a consistent management experience as well for you that are supporting and running these installations. To have one management tool to ensure that there is this new HP laptop coming out. It has been tested, it works, there is a new firmware maybe, and then it works on all the rooms. It's not just that there are 2 types of rooms that didn't have this function or this product, so there this laptop doesn't work or something like that. So be able to aggregate the differences in the installations and provide a consistent user experience and management experience is of course crucial. And we hear it a lot because at the end of the day, when you're designing the different rooms, you will have different requirements in those, and to be as flexible as possible here, so you can select the best product for your requirement, the best camera for this room, the wireless here, wired here in this room, this MTR system there because it works good in this sense. You have flexibility to make different choices there, while still from a management and end user point of view, creating a consistent user experience. And this we have heard a lot, and many of our customers, they really evaluate that, especially after a while when they are changing rooms and adding more rooms into the systems and so on. So with that note, I would like to open up then for any questions here. And I think Dennis, if you want to say how it works.
Yeah, thank you very much, Olaf, for the Ochno deep dive. We got a few questions already. Again, at the bottom right, you can just use the chat or the question window to type in your questions. The first question is, you mentioned the cable management of Evoko. Does Ochno itself provide any cable management options?
So I can just show a bit here. So we have a regular 2 and 3 meter USB-C cables that you can do if you have your own solutions like Bachmann, Magic Hole, or something like that you can use. So it's not really a management, more cables. Then we have the aluminium outlets that you see down here. So those are, you just drill a hole in the table, you have those outlets, it provides you with full capabilities and an integrated button to switch. And then there is this small white or black cable that you connect to it to connect to your laptop. So that is what is provided by Ocno ourselves for how to get it into the table surface.
So basically, we could say that I'm quite flexible when using the cable management options of Ochno, how I want to set it up. These are separate products I need to purchase, or is that a bundle?
So the OPC3 is a separate product, and then those are accessories that you can buy through Exatis here. There are a couple of part numbers there for the aluminium outlets. They exist in black and aluminium. There are black, white, and black cables as well available. So when you buy the main product, there are no cables included. You buy them depending on what your integration looks like.
So just reach out to us or look it up on our in our web shop. There you can get an overview of which cables, which options are available. And if you have any further questions in that regards, just reach out to us, and we are happy to assist you. Another question is from a participant is, I'm using ClickShare CX50 Gen 2. Can Ochno charge the device as well?
Yeah, actually, since we provide 100 watt and the CX50 actually consumes 90 watt, we can actually power that one as well. So we have that running in our labs, and we have tested that, so it works well.
Oh, nice. Then a follow-up question from my side. If I connect then my cameras and such, I still have enough power that they will be powered as well from Ochno?
Yeah, so I mean total power is over 200 watt, and then that is distributed. So depending on how many laptops are connected, first one gets 100 watt, and then if you connect more, those get 60 watt. So 200 is the total sort of budget, and then there are priority, of course, to cameras and so on top of that.
Yeah, of course, notebooks. I just said cameras.
Yeah, no, so there is a logic for handle that distribution. So 200 watt in total. Great.
Another question is regarding the auto booking feature. You mentioned 10 minutes. It will, if I connect my device, it will automatically set the meeting for 10 minutes. Is this time frame, can I change that? Is that flexible? For instance, saying if I connect my device via USB-C, that the meeting will automatically be booked for 30 minutes?
Yeah, so there is a minimum, that is the default settings, 10 minutes. So it basically, you define that time, and then it extends, so you always have 10 minutes in advance all the time, right? And so when you pull out the cable, you can then decide, should I then just time out? So after 10 minutes it will be available after that. So that's the normal behavior. But we're launching this feature now, so any feedback on how to be more detailed in its configuration, we are definitely open for that. So this is more a first step to get the system up and running, and also have a discussion with the customers regarding this.
Okay, thanks. Let me check. So,
and I can just mention there, Dennis, I mean, we are working very close, of course. I mean, everyone says that, but I think we can deliver on it as well, very close with our customers. So I would say basically a lot of, these features that you have seen here, especially about the different integrations, are all based on customer inputs that we are getting, and then we are implementing that feature, within 3-4 months, the feature can be there. So don't be afraid to ask, and can you do this and can you do that? We are super happy to have meetings to discuss those features, and that's the benefit of working with sort of a smaller company closely, instead of waiting for a new release from Microsoft or something like that.
That is true, and I can totally confirm that. So when anything pops up, we're happy to set up a meeting with Olof as well, and then we can really do a deep dive of what is needed or what feature you would highly need to implement it in your rooms. Are there any connections interfaces for control systems like RS-232?
Yeah, so we have an adapter, an RS-232 adapter that can be connected to one of the USB ports, and that gives you bidirectional communication. So you get an event when you insert the USB-C cable or the user switches, and then you can send command to switch, to change MTR mode, and to do some other things as well. So that allows you. We are looking at an IP interface as well later this year. Right now it's the RS-232 interface for that kind of integrations.
Okay. Oh, and a bunch of additional questions came in. Does it work with Dante or NDI as well?
Yeah, so Dante is, we are working on sort of the USB plane, if you call it like that. So you would need a USB to Dante DSP connected to one of the USB ports. But that is very common. Many customers is using that. But there is no native Dante over in the Ethernet port, if that's what you asked. So, but we haven't found any system that it doesn't work with. So as long as if it's USB connectivity to the DSP, it's fine.
Okay. Is there some PT set control option integrated, like switch the PT set to the active user?
With a camera control, we don't. There is no real standard for how to expose that interface to the user. So that is normally not done sort of through USB-C cable to the laptop like that. If the USB camera has sort of a PC application that allows it to be controlled, that will of course work through the USB communication from the laptop to the camera. But then you have like out of band control as well, which would not go through Ocno. So if, for instance, if you have an MTR system, and on that MTR system you can pull up a PT set control, that will be handled separately.
I would also like to add on this question that we got the cameras will be connected at the back of the device, and whichever connected laptop is active at the moment will gain access to the USB devices connected to Ocno automatically. There's nothing which you need to activate or say switch that I can use that camera. It will all automatically be connected as if you would connect it to your laptop directly via USB-C or USB-A. And then here, sorry if I missed it. How we manage bring your own device. Last connected gets the camera and the mics, and when I remove my laptop, it goes back to the previous connected device.
So you can configure the system to have auto switch. Normally then if you have many connections and you don't have any of the buttons solutions, and then there are different patterns that you can use for auto switching. So it can be last one connected, which means that normally last one gets to the connection. When you pull out the cable, it doesn't go back to the previous one. That can be one configuration, or it can go back to the previous one. You can also have first one gets auto switch. So if you come into the room, you have 4 cables maybe, and then the first one that connects, it auto switch to that port, but then the second one that connects at the time, they will only get charging, for instance. But recommendation is that if you have more than 2 USB-C cables, you typically
Oh, Olaf, you are frozen. We cannot hear you anymore, or at least I can't hear you.
a bit, okay, there is a button here, and then after that, other people need to click the button to switch active ports.
Olaf, the audio dropped, I think, for the last 30 seconds. Can you just repeat what you just said?
Do you hear it now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So basically the auto switch capabilities, I mean, up to if you have more than 2 of these USB-C cables coming out, we recommend that you use one of the button options, because auto switch might be a bit confusing with too many cables. But as I said, there are multiple ways to configure the auto switch behavior to suit your different use cases there, and it can be done through the Ochno Operator portal, or there's also a local PC application you can use to configure these settings.
Yeah, also you can simply download the local PC application from Ocno website, which is also quite neat. Is you don't really need to install it or need to have admin rights. So basically, you just need to connect to the 4th port, and then click the button at the back of Ocno for 5 seconds, and then it will simply pop up, connect to Ocno, and then you can start configuring how you want to use manual or auto switching. Next question. If total power budget is 200 watts, how many laptops can be then charged, and how is this power distributed through all 4 laptops?
So it's the first one gets 100 watt. Then if a second one is connecting, it actually downgrades the first one to 60 watt. And then after that, it actually, if 4 are connected at 60 watt, it will then lower the actual charging speed. So it maps. Usually a laptop never charge at 60 watt, even if it says it charged at 60 watt. So normally that's not a problem, and the user will not see any impact at all in any of these cases.
I can confirm that. We did several tests at Exertis, and there's no problem connecting several laptops at once. They will all be up and running and will be charged. And then, is it possible to have a multi-view or a video wall split up?
So the OPC3, it provides you with HDMI 2.0 output. So it's up to 4K 60 Hertz full color depth, 18 gigabit. So if you need anything beyond that, you need to add third-party products basically to provide an HDMI splitter or something similar to deal with that. And OPC4 will have dual, video outputs, and this is of course important to know that. So when we say dual, it means that the laptop will see 2 different displays, as you do if you dock on your desktop and you have dual monitors. You do the extended windows, and it's going to pop up different screens on the different pictures. whereas an HDMI splitter is of course still seen as one screen from the endpoint user's endpoint of view, but it's shown on different monitors. So OpenC 3 has one video output, user will see one external screen, OpenC 4 2, like that. And like I just mentioned, I mean, on the note of dual screens, it kind of pops up now and then. So normally we only recommend to have dual monitors if you have a team system or similar, Zoom room, because then the team system will take care of what is shown on the two different monitors or displays. Normally you have sort of the meeting, the participants on one screen and the content sharing on the other screen. So the connected laptops will only see one screen going up on the sharing screen. If you have a BOD room and you want dual monitors, then your users has to be educated in how to work with Windows to deal with that extend mode, and then ensure that they are the right order as well. So that is very complicated for a normal end user to deal with.
So, and thank you very much. And the next question is, so how many bring your own devices can I have? We have a project, AV project, and they want 25 points. Is it possible?
Yeah, I mean, you could in theory have another layer on this one. The only thing that needs to be considered is the number of USB hubs. So because you cannot have more than 5 according to the standard, and these different sort of trees adds to that. So we can definitely discuss that. I mean, there are ways to do it either with OpenC 3s or with an external control system to switch between two of these kind of trees. We just need to ensure that the whole, we need to look at the entire USB and video topology to ensure it will work.
So for this, I would say, please reach out to us and then we can set up a meeting and then we can speak in detail about this in particular project. So, and another question is, what happens when I use a video conference using Lenovo MTR and then at the same time connect a notebook? Can I show the notebook screen in the MTR meeting?
Yeah, so this is what we try to explain here. So if the meeting has started on the MTR system and you connect the USB-C cable, the laptop's video is shared into the Teams meeting. If there is no meeting joined on the MTR system, you will of course show a picture, but you will also then get access to the USB devices on that laptop. So both content ingest, or what we call it, MTR, content ingest, and BOD mode in the same USB-C cable.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that answered your question. So I think that was all for now. I think that were all the questions. Is there anything else you would, since we still have some time left, is there anything else you would like to add, Olaf?
No, I think the main, I mean, there are many, corner cases, if we call it like that, in more advanced rooms. You have touch screens, how should the touch screen work in MTR rooms, BOD rooms, etc. If you have a stationary PC as well, how should switching work there? And for those kind of special cases, we are super happy to set up a meeting with you and discuss it together with Dennis here. And I think my main message is that now we are here in Europe, and you should take advantage of that, and very short communication channels here. So please reach out to Dennis and we will arrange meetings with you to discuss different customer scenarios. So we only show you the high level here, but then of course there might be things you would like to discuss, how it connects with this system or that system, or how can you solve this use case and so on. And we are very good at providing inputs to those things. A very flexible platform in that sense.
Thanks. So thanks again for your time and interest. Also thanks to you, Olaf. The presentation will be sent to all participants by email afterwards. And with this, I would like to say goodbye and wish everyone a pleasant and a successful day. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.